Hello. So in this video, I would like to solve problem number 5. So in this problem, we have to write a program that's gonna sort an array, zeros, ones, and twos in ascending order. So basically, what we're gonna do is, let's say we have an array called A, 2, 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, 2. So our output should look like 2 zeros, 2 ones, 3 twos. So this is how it should look like. So basically what I'm thinking to do is, since we know that the array has only zeros and ones and twos, I will have 3 variables. Let's call them zeros, ones, twos. So I will just assign it to value 0. So every time I find a 0, I will increment 0. Every time I find 1, I will increment 1. Every time I find 2, I will increment 2s. So after traversing the list, I will have how many zeros and how many ones and how many 2s in the array. So once I have these informations, I'll just append how many zeros I have in the beginning of the list, and then after I end with zeros, I will move to ones. So after zeros, I will append ones to array A, and then I will do the same thing for twos as well. So basically, if we see in a table, zeros, ones, and twos. So let's say I'm using a for loop. So initially I found 2. So initially it's gonna be 0, 0, 0. So here I have a 1. Here I have a 2, so I incremented 2s. So here I have 1, so I will be incrementing 1s. So I have 2 zeros here, so I will be incrementing 2 times. So it is like 2, 1, 1. So I traversed till here. Now I have 2, so I'll be incrementing this one. I'll have one more 1, and I'll have another 2. So after traversing the list, I will have 2 plus 1, 3. So I have 2 zeros, 2 ones, and 3 twos. Yeah. So after having these 3 variables information, I will append 2 zeros in the beginning of the list, 2 ones after zeros, and 3 twos. So my code should return this array. So the pseudocode looks like we'll have a function called ascending. It's gonna take array as an example. Okay, I'll just make arr. Like I said, I will be taking 3 variables: zeros equal to 0, ones equal to 0, twos equal to 0. So now I will be using a for loop. Okay, we'll just divide it. I'll just use a for loop for I in range 0 to length of a minus 1. So this for loop is inside this this function. So I just used it just because of for the space in my notebook. I don't want to use 2 papers like in my previous video, so it was like a bit confusing. So yeah, I divided. So for I in a range, So I'll have to use three if statements. So one is gonna handle zeros, another one handles ones, and next one handles twos. So if a of I equal to 0, I will be incrementing zeros. Zeros equal to zeros plus 1. Else if a of I equal to 1, I'll be incrementing ones. Ones equal to ones plus 1. And now the final thing is like I don't need any condition here because I know there are then no other elements other than zeros and ones and twos, so I'll just use directly else. I'm incrementing twos here, twos plus 1. So okay, after traversing the whole list, now I have zeros value, ones value, and twos value. So now I need extra variable. So that's gonna, so this variable I'll be using it to append these zeros and ones and twos value to the array A. So I'll be using a while loop. While so I have a zeros here. Zeros is greater than 0. I wanted to break the loop if the condition meets this condition. So until then I will be just adding a of I equal to 0, and then I will be incrementing I equal to I plus 1, and also I have to decrement zeros. 0 minus 1, zeros minus 1. So each time it goes through the loop, it checks the zeros condition. So initially it is like 2 is greater than 0, so it's gonna append a of I equal to 0. I'll write here a of I equal to 0, and it's gonna increment 1, so now I value is 1, and zeros is like 0 is reduced to 1, and the next time 1 is greater than 0, so it will append another 0 and increment I value and decrement zeros, and then 0 is not greater than 0, so it's gonna break the loop. So I will have the same while loop again for ones. Ones is greater than, so now it's just like using the same condition for different values for 1 and 2, and then I will be again incrementing I plus 1, and then I will decrement 1 is equal to 1 minus 1. So it will be repeating the same for 2's as well. So 2's a of I equal to 2, and then I will increment I value, decrement 2's value. 2's equal to 2's minus 1. So at the end I will just return A. So just to give a small final verdict, I'm just getting how many zeros I have in the whole list, and how many ones and how many twos. So by doing for loop, I'm gonna get these information. So once I have how many zeros I have and ones and twos I have, I'll be taking another variable. So this is just to append, just to add a new list. I mean, just to create a new variable. So initially we will be looking at the 0 if while 0 is greater than zeros is greater than 0, I'll be adding 0 to the initial value A of 0, and then I will be incrementing 1, and decrementing zeros. So I'm doing the same thing for all three values, zeros and ones and two. And at the end, I'm just returning a. So the time complexity is going to be big of n because I'm using only one for loop. Space complexity is big of 1 because I'm not using any extra space other than these variables. So these are static variables, so it shouldn't take it shouldn't be much space. It shouldn't be taking much space. So that too, it is a static variable, so space complexity is big of n, and the time complexity is going to be big of n. Thank you.